Hey everyone, been a couple weeks since my last video, but I recently came back from my annual pilgrimage to Koshien Stadium to see a Tigers game. So figured as good a time as any to finally make a new video. I got some stuff at the game, and then I also have some pickups and some other stuff to talk about. So let's just get into it. So first up, from Koshien. When I go every year, I get kind of nice seats because I have a hookup. Know someone who knows someone. Actually, I know the other someone too. But this is my ticket. I always save my ticket. This is 3 years running now. This is a season seat. Actually, in Japanese baseball at this point, the Pacific League has moved to fully digital tickets, but the Central League, you can still get paper tickets. I, of course, as a collector of cards and things like that, kind of lament the end of paper tickets. I get it, but it's just one thing that's a little too bad. The story I always give is that my sister was at the game where Rodgers surpassed Brett Favre as the all-time Green Bay Packers touchdown pass leader. And she was at the game and texted me, and I was like, oh, and the first thing I said to her was, save the ticket. And she was like, it was digital. I was like, oh, I don't know, make a screenshot and sell it as an NFT or something. Anyway, I digress. So that was the ticket. And as usual, I also got this towel. This year's is yellow. And by the way, extra special this year because it is Koshien Stadium's 100th birthday. So this one has a little patch on it, which is pretty cool. So Koshien Stadium, 100 years old this year. And then the other thing I usually do when I go to this game every year is I get these little tin badges. So at the one of the team stores, they have these badges, these little tin buttons, and they're kind of like cards because they come in packs and there's a variety of players, but you don't know which players you're gonna get. So I always get a couple of them, and it's kind of like cards. It's fun. So this year I was actually pretty happy. Uh, I did get Morishita, who was a rookie last year for the Tigers. He's established himself as in the lineup. Young player, just another piece in the team's young core. He's a clutch hitter, and he's having another good year to start the year this year. So, and then I also got, and I don't know if this is like if he's always like this, but I got a shiny version. I got like a cracked ice shiny version of my favorite Tiger, Koji Chikamoto, who was Japan Series MVP last year. Should have been Central League MVP, um, but his teammate Shoki Murakami, a pitcher, took it home instead. Um, So yeah, I don't know if these like cracked ice shiny parallels are like for all the buttons or if it's just Chikamoto because he was Japan Series MVP or what, but I was thrilled to get my favorite Japanese player and not only that in like a shiny version. So those are my Koshien pickups and things like that. I also got just some more cards in. So I want to start. Well, okay, I'll just start with in Osaka. I managed to find some more 73 Calbys that I needed. I'm kind of sort of half-heartedly at this point. I've kind of decided to basically half-heartedly again collect the crossed bats 73 Calby cards and maybe eventually the entire set or subset depending on how you want to look at it. I think I've got about 40 cards now and there's about 100 or so of the cross bats. Anyway, I was really happy because all of these were non-Giants players. Now, if you watch some of my other videos, you know that the Giants dominate the set with multiple cards of you know various Giants players and things like that. But there are also, I guess you could say, non-Giants players. And they tend to take up the higher numbers of the 100 or so in the cross bats 73s. The first one I'll show you is card number 52. This is Kenichi Yazawa for the Chunichi Dragons. Yazawa I should say, is not a Hall of Famer. He was a long time Dragons player for about 20 years, and he's got about 275 or so home runs, 2,000 plus hits. Very good numbers, but like I said, he is not a Hall of Famer, although he might have some case to make the Hall of Fame. I think there are players who are similarly credentialed who are in. Alas, Yazawa is not a Hall of Famer, but this is a pretty cool card. Here's the back. This one's a nice back. The other thing is I could probably have more than 40 of these cards if I were, a little less strict about the condition. I try to find them as pristine as possible, and to make matters worse, basically, well, so before I've talked about the 64 Morinaga set, and my hypothesis is that the non-Giants players in the 64 Morinaga set are more scarce than the Giants players. And my thought is that that could be because they just printed more of the Giants, considering the immense popularity of the team and the players. I somehow suspect this might be the case with the 73 Calbys as well, particularly the cross bats. The non-Giants players, I just don't come across them as much. And I get that I'm in Tokyo, so maybe because Tokyo is the Giants, well, and also the Swallows, but it's Giants country, so maybe that's skewing things for me. But I just can't find these non-Giants players quite as much. So I was happy that the three cards that I got were. This one is card number 58. This is Koji Yamamoto for the Carp, the Hiroshima Carp. And Yamamoto is a Hall of Famer. In fact, he is a member of the NPB, or I should say Japanese Baseball 500 Home Run Club, which is a pretty exclusive club, as you might imagine, given the season that is about a month's worth of games shorter than a major league season. So Koji Yamamoto for the Carp, he played his entire career for the Carp. This is not at all uncommon for Japan, even now, but certainly back then. But still, now the players it's far more common for players to stay on one team here. Card number 58. This one's the back's a little soiled, but it's got nice corners and nice edges. It is a little stained on the front, but a nice card of a great player you've probably never heard of, Koji Yamamoto, with almost, I want to say 535, 37 home runs or something like that. He is fourth all time on the list. And he is one of 8 players in the Japanese 500 home run club. Not including plus the majors. So, for example, Hideki Matsui is also in the 500 club combined, but not only in NPB or only in the major leagues, right? All right, and then finally I picked up this really nice looking card of Tomoyuki Mimura, also for the Carp. Mimura is not a Hall of Famer. He was a good player, a shortstop for the Carp, longtime shortstop for the Carp. Like I said, not a home run hitter really. His offensive stats are not eye-catching. But he did win multiple, he was selected to multiple All-Star teams, and also had multiple Best Nine selections. Best Nine would be like being all pro in the NFL, essentially the best player at each position. So this one has a nice clean back too. Okay. So that's that. Let's see here. I guess speaking of Calby, I will move on to some modern Calby. The new Calby series basically just dropped a couple weeks ago. So I did manage to find some chip bags with the little foil packs on them. I'll share with you a couple of the cards that I got. These are star cards. They always do these star cards of, as you might expect, stars. And this is Takeya Nakamura, who, speaking of the Japanese 500 home run club, when I was talking about Yamamoto earlier, Takeya Nakamura is currently sitting at, I want to say, 475 career NPB only home runs. And he's got a real chance at 500. It's a realistic chance. Not necessarily a super good one. Nakamura is over 40 years old. I think he's 41 or 42. In the last couple seasons, he's just been playing part-time, essentially, because he's old. But Nakamura has a pretty good chance, or he's got a real shot at it, which would be pretty special to see a new player enter the NPB, Japanese baseball 500 home run club. You might not see it again, just because any other player with the ability to hit that many homers is probably going to inevitably go to the major leagues at this point. Certainly, Munetaka Murakami could do it, but he's going to go to the major leagues. So Takeya Nakamura also has one of the best nicknames in baseball history, which basically means second helping, because he's a big guy. So, and then I also got this one. I was happy to get a Tiger, Teruaki Sato, for my Tigers. Or as I like to call him, Teruaki Sanshin. Sanshin means strikeout in Japanese. And Sato sure does a lot of it. Man, there's been this stretch of games the past few games where he had a 4 strikeout game the other day. The game that I went to at Koshien the other day, I think he struck out 3 times. He's definitely hot or cold. He'll alternate between streaks of heroics, mixed with just striking out all the time and being totally inept. So, that's Sato, but I was happy to get him. And then this one I didn't pull, but I started to pick up a couple rookie cards of Shugo Maki, for the Yokohama Bay Stars, who has been a pretty good player the last couple years, but this guy is really good, and I just kind of realized that I didn't really have a lot of cards of him, and no rookies. So I had to pick up some rookies. This is the 2021 Calby rookie of Maki, and yeah, so that's just the base rookie of Maki. And then I also got his BBM Rookie Edition rookie. I found this at a card shop in Osaka. So Shugo Maki. And let's see here. I guess, all right, why don't I talk about a couple of stories out of Japanese baseball recently. So I got this new edition of Sports Graphic Number, with Ohtani in a Dodgers uni. I think this is the first appearance. It's not, it's like a comic book, the first appearance. This is like the first appearance of Ohtani in a Dodgers uniform on the cover of this magazine. I collect them anytime I see Ohtani or Ichiro on the cover usually. Um, but the main story in here that I want to talk, and then he's also on the back too. The main story I want to talk about actually is not Ohtani with this magazine. It is actually this guy. So this kid, this is Rintaro Sasaki. Now his name has been in a couple English language articles, kind of recently within the last few months. But if you don't know, Rintaro Sasaki, no relation to Roki Sasaki, by the way. Sasaki is quite a common family name in Japan. Uh, what was I saying? You might have heard of him. Rintaro Sasaki is actually the son of Shohei Ohtani's high school coach. So the coach of Hanamaki Higashi High School, which Shohei Ohtani went to, and also Yusei Kikuchi. It's kind of a powerhouse baseball school. And Rintaro Sasaki is the son, there he is at bat, is the son of the coach. Oh, geez, I just bent a page. Oh, well. So the news with him, the big news with him is that he is actually not going to enter Japanese baseball. So he is actually going to go to Stanford, and he's going to play college baseball in America. He decided to forego the NPB draft. He would have been projected to be the number one overall pick in the NPB draft, but he opted instead to go to play college baseball in the U.S. And he had several reasons for that. He and his father kind of like, they just made that decision uh, based on certain factors. They thought, Sasaki, the son, as a big power hitter, he holds the record, the home run record for Japanese high school baseball, by the way. So big power hitter. They kind of just figured that he would be better nurtured in the United States, where the coaches and things like that would be more willing to kind of develop his power and work with his strengths rather than there's a lot of orthodoxy and kind of dogma in Japan where there was a fear that a lot of coaches and things like that would be more wanting to have him work on things that he's not necessarily as good at. For example, yes, Sasaki's a big home run hitter. Of course, it means he strikes out a lot. But in some ways, right, striking out is kind of part and parcel with hitting a lot of home runs. I'm pretty sure Mickey Mantle struck out about 150 or so times his Triple Crown season. But there's some coaches and other the sort of prevailing ideology is that the strikeouts are always bad and you have to fix them and things like that. So for various reasons, Rintaro Sasaki is heading to the United States to play baseball. It's pretty exciting. I don't think he's going to uh, I know he'll be starting on the baseball team in 2025, so I guess he's like redshirted this year. He'll be starting at Stanford in September, but he won't be joining the baseball team until 2025. So, which yeah, with the calendar that makes sense, right? The season would almost be over anyway. So anywho, that's Rintaro Sasaki if you haven't heard of him. And then finally, the other story out of Japanese baseball has been this guy, Hiroya Miyagi. Now, Hiroya Miyagi, he is basically the Buffalo's ace, kind of the next man up because Yoshinobu Yamamoto went to the Dodgers, but the Buffaloes are very adept at selecting and developing pitchers. When last season, when Yamamoto was still on the team, they had three pitchers. It was basically like a Maddox Smoltz Glavine kind of thing with Yamamoto, and then Miyagi, and then another pitcher, Shunpei Yamashita, which factors into this story a little bit. But Miyagi has gone gangbusters to start the season. He's a really interesting pitcher. He has an evil splitter slider combo. However, though that's the good part. The maybe less good part is that Miyagi has a fastball that sits low 90s. The question, I guess, would be my guess is, especially given his teammate came to the major leagues, we will see Miyagi. He's only 22, but I imagine when he turns 25, he will probably make his way to the majors. And of course, good luck to him if that's what he does. I do have question marks. Miyagi, to put it bluntly, he's a very small guy. Like if you were thinking that Yamamoto was undersized, Miyagi is like 5'7" in shoes. So I don't like to be height prejudiced, obviously, and wasn't with Yamamoto, but we're talking a guy who's 3 inches shorter than Yamamoto. But he can deal, and if he can paint, hey, he might make it. So yeah, anyway, the Buffaloes have two aces all right now, although one of them is not really doing so hot to start the season. That is Shunpei Yamashita. I've just picked up the first card I could find. This is from the latest BBM. Now, Yamashita, unlike Miyagi, is actually very much what you'd expect from like a frontline starter. He's basically built like Ohtani. He's like 6'3" and big, and unlike Miyagi, throws heat. They're basically kind of like the odd couple. I think I have a Miyagi, yeah. So Miyagi and Yamashita, they're the two aces, but they're kind of like the odd couple. Miyagi is like a tricky lefty. He's this little guy who's got like a vicious splitter and a slider, but he doesn't, like I said, his fastball's sitting low 90s. And then Yamashita is the big right-hander who just throws gas. So they're like kind of a 1-2, but they're like very different pitchers. But whereas Tale of Two Starts, right? Miyagi is looking like an MVP right now, and Yamashita has struggled a lot. Not really worried about it. But yeah, so Hiroya Miyagi, definitely a player to watch. Remember this name. He could be the next, if he comes to the major leagues, I don't think he's not going to get Yamamoto money. He's just not, because Yamamoto can throw upper 90s and Miyagi definitely can't. I don't know, but they could probably send him to Driveline, give him a tick on his fastball or something. Although, to be honest, maybe a guy like Miyagi is, especially if he can like just have immaculate control, that might be something we need. I really advocate getting excited about the prospect of more Japanese starting pitchers coming to the major leagues, because I just don't see the homegrown, bona fide, old school ace star pitchers coming from the U.S. anymore. Just given what the environment's like, where you just these guys are, well, you don't need to get into it, but these guys are just glorified relievers now. But the Japanese pitchers are still in the mold of a starter, so like a true starter who will go 7+ innings and things like that. So guys like Miyagi, they're definitely like a name to watch out for. And really it could be, these Japanese pitchers could be that are just kind of built a little different. Maybe they're not as big, but they don't get injured as much, and they'll go the innings. It's just, it might be what Major League Baseball needs on the pitching end of things. some of these Japanese stars come over and then they become like real star pitchers. I mean, it's definitely early, but Yamamoto's kind of figured it out. Shota Imanaga looks unstoppable. I'm not saying these things are going to continue. At some point on Imanaga, probably regression to the mean is going to set in. I don't think this dude's going to have a sub 1 ERA all year. But anyway, that's kind of the broader point, right? Starting pitching is going away, except for in Japan. It's still big in Japan. All right, I did have some other stuff, but I guess I'll show it later. Video's getting kind of long, so as always, thanks for watching. Peace.